Margaret Hale became a widow on a cold October morning in Chicago, the kind of morning when the city feels indifferent to grief. Her husband, Daniel Hale, a construction site safety inspector, died when a poorly secured scaffold collapsed. The company called it an unfortunate accident. The insurance paid quickly. The city moved on. But Margaret did not. Daniel had been honest to a fault. He believed in rules, paperwork, and accountability, old-fashioned virtues in a system that preferred shortcuts. Weeks before his death, he had told Margaret that the company, North Star Developments, was cutting corners to meet deadlines. "If I push too hard, they'll blacklist me," he said one night, tired but firm. "If I stay quiet, someone could die." Someone did. Margaret was 46, a former librarian who had left her job to support Daniel when his work required constant travel. After his death, the house felt enormous and empty. Friends brought casseroles and sympathy, but what stayed with her were the documents Daniel had left behind in a locked drawer. Inspection reports, emails, photos, and handwritten notes. They were evidence, clear, methodical, damning. She tried the legal route first. Lawyers listened politely, nodded gravely, and explained how difficult it would be to fight a corporation with deep pockets and better attorneys. "You'll spend years," one said gently, "and they'll settle quietly, if at all." Margaret realized then that justice in America often depended on visibility. She returned to the library not as an employee, but as a student of the system. She learned how public records worked, how journalists verified sources, how social media shaped narratives. She was quiet, patient, and underestimated, traits that became her greatest weapons. Margaret created an anonymous blog called The Widow's File. At first, it was simple: scanned documents, dates, and short explanations written in plain language. No anger, no accusations, just facts. She posted Daniel's final inspection report, which had been ignored, then emails showing pressure from management to reclassify safety risks, then photographs taken the morning of the collapse. The blog was slow to gain attention, but Margaret understood America's obsession with stories. Facts alone were not enough, so she added context, short human details. A father who wouldn't come home, a company dinner held the same night as the funeral, executive bonuses announced a week later. A local journalist picked it up first, then a regional paper, then national outlets. North Star's public relations team dismissed the blog as misleading and emotional. That statement was their mistake. Margaret released the final file, a recorded voicemail Daniel had saved but never sent. His voice was calm, professional, and afraid. "If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident." The country listened. Congressional hearings followed. North Star's executives testified under oath. Share prices fell. Sponsors withdrew. The same lawyers who once refused Margaret now called her daily. She ignored most of them. Her revenge was not loud. She did not shout on television or smile for cameras. She sat in the back of hearing rooms, dressed plainly, watching powerful men struggle to explain their lies. North Star paid millions in fines. More importantly, new safety regulations were enforced, informally named by the media as Hale's Rule. Daniel's name became part of policy, not a footnote. On the anniversary of his death, Margaret closed The Widow's File. She wrote one final post, not about North Star, but about the illusion of justice in American society. We are told the system works. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it only works when ordinary people refuse to disappear. Margaret did not remarry. She did not become famous. She returned to the library and took her old job back. To most people, she was just another quiet woman shelving books. But in boardrooms and legal offices, her name lingered as a warning. In a society where power often expects silence, a widow had proven that memory could be sharper than anger and far more dangerous.